What's up guys, Cantonese Productions back on the second channel, and I will talk about why I do not like the new 2022 Bobas Throne Room set. So yeah, despite being a big fan, and even though a lot of Star Wars fans weren't of the Book of Boba Fett series, I was excited to get some Lego sets from it, in particular when they started to rumour that we would get a Jabba's Palace or Boba's Palace. I got very excited over that because I back in December was actually trying to get a Jabba's Palace, and I had two conclusions in mind, right? Here's what would happen. Either I could wait for the new one to come out, but it could be terrible, and if it was terrible, everyone would invest in the 2012 one, and it would go skyrocket in value. So I bought it right before the jump that it made, and I was right. People were going to go crazy buying it because of the whole... The new one is more affordable as it is just... I mean, for kids it's a great play set, but in my mind it's an awful as a display piece. See, you want display ability from a Lego set. Now, personally, here I wanted to buy it. I wanted to look forward to it, and I was really happy when I liked the first image that we saw. But then when I started to see the actual images of the set, it kind of disappointed me completely. Like, well, not the images, but when I watched a review of it, and actually saw it up close and a bit more of the actual features or shown off, I was very disappointed. But before we get into any more of it, here's the kind of brief history of the Jabba's Palace sets. So our history for the Jabba's Palace sets begins here, all the way back in 2003, which is also the year of my birth, funny enough. We had the very first Jabba's Palace set 4480, as you can see right there. There is the set info, and this was the set. It was a really cool set. You got Luke Skywalker, Jabba the Hutt, Princess Leia, a Gog Droid, and EV99, which is a really cool feature. And this was your main palace. What this whole add-ons thing we'll get into in a minute. You had two add-ons. If you wanted to have the front entrance, you could buy 4475 Jabba's Message, which had R2D2, C3PO, and Bib Fortuna, which was very cheap. All this could be accomplished for less than £50 back in the day. The other attachment you could get was Jabba's Prize, which had Han Solo and Carbonite, a Gamorrean Guard, and Boba Fett. Fun fact, my book may have been misprinted. And if you look closely, I think whoever printed out this book swapped Boba's legs with the Gamorrean Guard. Fun fact on my Lego Star Wars Visual Dictionary from 2009. Let's go on to the next year of the Palace. So our next bit of history kind of covers two sets, but this will come back into play later. So we have 9516 Jabba's Palace from 2012, which is the top set here, and this tower, which had 10 minifigures, also a much more accurate palace. You had the tower, you had the little trap door, you had everything going on, and it was all in one build. You had no extra side builds, other than the fact that you could buy the Rancor, which would attach underneath it. You got the Palace in the summer of 2012, and in January of 2013 the Rancor pit then came. Here's some of the minifigures and stuff that came with the set. It was overall a really cool set, and it's probably my favourite iteration. And as you can see, it's one of those sets that I proudly display on my shelf right here, depicting some of the scenes from Return of the Jedi. And it's a really cool set, and it's one of those things, we don't get this location often. There was we had it in 2003, 2012, and then in 2013, the controversy due to the shape of the roof and the tower, the fact that apparently this depicts certain ethnicities as criminals and drug lords, apparently, according to the, I'm not going to get into it, but I think it was the Turkish Muslim community that had the issue with it. Nothing against them at all, and basically Lego pulled the shit off shelves, and then since then we've had no Jabba the Hutt related sets, kind of, until now. So jump forward 9 years since 2013 when that set got in trouble and got pulled. We now have this 75326 Boba Fett's Throne Room, which it's one of those sets that I have my problems with, like, immensely. Let's get into the first problem. So the Boba Fett minifigure that you see here, I'll show you a better picture of him soon, is severely inaccurate. Yet on the box, he is a correct green. Like the wearer will touch up on the box, but they wouldn't do it to the actual minifigure, which somewhat annoyed me. There's a bit of what we're talking about here. I mean, you can see the dark green on the armour, but on the helmet, it's just awful. they don't do a very good job of translating is like the sand green, yes, it's Boba Fett's iconic colour, but it's been changed. Everything else on the minifigure, that's what lets it down the worst. Like, obviously I understood, like, you know, that kind of brought out in a rush maybe with the Slave one, but you'd think in this more expensive set that they're going to want people to buy this. It's kind of like the flagship set of the Book of Boba Fett. You think they would buy it, which, they'll try to change it, which does get on my nerves. Then we have Fennec Shand, right? Now, yes, the rest of the minifigure is all good, it's all standard the way it should be, but the hair they took from an Eternal set from Marvel, there's probably so many other hair pieces in existence. Like, I understand if you don't want to go to lengths to, you know, create a whole new mold, that's fine, but there's existing hair pieces you could have used that weren't this one. And there's a few positives to this set, minifigures wise. The Bib Fortuna has that look to him. Sure, he isn't fat, they didn't make a, you know, a special mold or anything, but they tried to print it. I'm pretty happy. The only downside is his arms can only move up so far with that piece, but he's okay. So, since we want to be somewhat positive, here's the only minifigures that really pop out to be in this actually being worth it, which I'll get on to my next point. So we've got Rizal Stance, I think, and this is a character you see quite a few times in Star Wars. Never as like a main character or someone to interact with, but you know, you see her kind of in the background, notably in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, and then again in the trailer for Book of Boba Fett, or basically, you know, the end credit scene in The Mandalorian Season 2, where you see a really cool minifigure, probably a one-off, only ever in this set, unless she somehow becomes, you know, important to the plot in some other Star Wars media. Another highlight in this set is the Corn, a minifigure we have not seen before, and who knows, hope we might not see again, but I hope this feels like one of those molds that Lego would want to, Lego would want to get their kind of money's worth out of. They would want to use this and do a lot with it, so I could see them doing that. Really cool minifigure indeed. The next up is a Gamorrean guard, which at first glance I thought would be exactly the same as the 2012 version, which I'm completely wrong. So here's the one from the 2012 panel. So they've added a bit of a print in the middle of the torso. They've given them brown hands, and the other difference is they've changed out the legs completely to be, you know, a lot more accurate. You can see the different print and the detail on the legs. Oh, that's kind of cool. At first I thought, oh hey, they'll actually reuse this minifigure, which didn't really bother me. And the next minifigure that I feel we should be getting more of these type of minifigures here is the Weequay. He's either a Nikto or a Weequay, I think. No, he's a Weequay. Same species as Hondo Ohnaka from Star Wars The Clone Wars, and while I do like the minifigure, like the head tails coming out with like the braided hair and stuff, he looks cool. See, these are the minifigures, that's like the only thing that draws me more as a set, because Fennec Shand, there's a better Fennec Shand in another set, and the Boba Fett is in another set, not that he's a main draw for the set unless you don't have him, but these are the minifigures that if you were to buy a set for the minifigures, these would be them. Personally, I would like to add them to my existing palace, because all these characters are in the background in Return of the Jedi, so you could just add them to your existing palace, or even just buy them for mock purposes. Depending on what this minifigure's value though is going to be when the set first appears, although I've got some theories on that. When the Bad Batch set came out, which was a similar price, all its minifigures were exclusive and were worth a fortune for like a few months, and now you can get them not like stupid cheap, but you can get them relatively cheaper now than you could at first. So for me, it depends how much it would cost to buy all these minifigures separately, although it does open up Gamorrean guards to be a cheaper minifigure than they have been in recent years. But this is not a happy video, as you will guess by the title. So here's one of the things that kind of was a flaw in the set for me, displayability wise, right? So here we have the kind of main layout for the set. Now let me show you the previous one first for this comparison. So the previous set had a really cool ability. You could detach this completely with Technic pins. I have mine turned around this way so I can have the R2 and 3PO door scene, and also you can have it like this. Now this set I can remove, right? I can turn it round. Very poorly here with one hand, but it will look good. And you can display it from this angle. You know, you'd have the door obviously on the other side, but this is displayable from both sides. And the other one, well... So here we come back to this one, which was very misleading. So you could open up the back section, just like the other set could, which suppose is a great play feature for kids. And then you have the roof. The roof, I understand, because of the controversy surrounding the previous set, had to be changed. I just don't like, they've tried to put the curves kind of going round, but they've failed at that. Now, one thing I thought, might redeem it for putting it on the shelf wise is they've got this bit that comes out the middle. That is kind of the same, the width of that is kind of like the gap there. Same with the towers. I thought you could close it all into one cube and it might actually look somewhat decent. Turns out you cannot because of the way the clips work. Now, yes, you could modify, but we're not talking about what you could do, we're talking about the way the set actually comes to you. Now, the next thing I want to point out that I don't like is the fact that they've missed an opportunity here, the way they've designed the set. So, because the previous set was one solid piece and didn't have any, it had the attachable tower, but it was by Technic pins, you didn't have to have that in the design. Because these pieces swing out, and yes, they can't clip right in, it doesn't make one solid piece. Therefore, you miss out on the ability to have a goddamn Rancor pit, which you can't release a Rancor pit on its own and not have it kind of a palace. Those are things that go hand in hand, and something they have completely screwed an opportunity to have, which upsets me. Now, the other thing people will be saying is, hey, listen, on the roof there is some clips. Let me just show you those. Before I do, the thing that annoys me is they did put the grate there for characters to stand, but it's useless, it can't drop or anything. So they've essentially just ruined another feature that could have been. So you have the clips here and up here. By the way, I did get images. I just paused the YouTube video that had pictures of set to do this. Most simple way to do it for me, basically, and it's not taking soon. People are putting out rumours that there will be a section. Now, if you recall at the top of the palace, there was the whole section where Boba Fett's back to tank, and people are saying we'll get that with the Boba Fett in his back to tank like outfit, another Gamorrean guard, and probably black chrysanthemum, right? So that makes sense, other than the fact you have the two grates on the top that you've seen in the previous clip. Not to mention, this set would look even worse because they can't do the rounded off kind of style roof like they done previously, because they'll get in trouble again. So that is kind of what ruined. It's like, sure, there could be extra clips on this and stuff that kind of go, oh hey, look, there's room for expansion because there's spare clips. Yeah, let me slightly disprove that. Here we have the Obi-Wan's hut from the start of 2020, so it's a long retired set, but that's not the point. Basically, if we come down here, we have 4 clips. We have one there, one there, and 2 on the bottom. So you might go, hey wait, it's for the character's lightsabers. Now, yeah, that's all well and good, but why 4? Now you could argue, hey, it's to take the blades off, or anything like that, but the point is, we've had clips in LEGO Star Wars sets before that could be for expansion purposes that never go anywhere, so it could be just more of a case of that. Not to mention, given this is a 2-year-old set, if they were going to release expansions or something like that, they would have long done it by now. So, yeah, next point. Okay, so around the back of the box for like my final thing with this, so here we have the tower, right? So the tower, well, you can see the problem. There's this one, and then there's a goddamn accurate looking tower. So essentially the vault, what they've done is they've cut out the middle part, and they made the bottom bit fatter. My one positive is I do like that adding of a control panel, but other than that, and they do have that feature to, throw the Gamorrean guard down the stairs to pick there, but I don't like it. Not to mention the throne is also not attached, so that can easily get knocked out, because it's not in there with bricks, it's just you slide it in, which is a problem that I have. And then there's the side edition with the seating area, so in the actual images of Jabba's palace, if you pull it up, here's how it would be laid out. You'd have the Jabba's palace here, you'd have over to the side, kind of on this wall, you would have the carbonite, and on the wall opposite that, you would have the seating area, which would be that, and on this wall here, you would have the entrance, or like a walkway. And yeah, great, I get it, they wanted to add this, but see when you turn it round to try and display it the back way, like how I showed you the 2012 one can do both, it ruins the look. It takes you from the image. If you were to do it as a silhouette, it would look bad. My point is, they've just majorly screwed up. Like, sure, you can display it this way, but even this way, it doesn't look all that great. This is a set that I have so many conflicting and annoying opinions on. It does have nice box art though. So, well, we're not done. Another feature, so yeah, you can see the back wall now. It is longer, it is wider than the previous one, right? Also with the roof and stuff. And then you look, cause see when you look at this set, the way it is, it feels like, and it looks like, the designer sat down with the 2012 set, and they kind of just, it's as if they wanted to remove as much as possible, and then put, it's like they've taken, it has more pieces. I think it has an extra 20 more pieces than the other one did, and it does cost less, right? In the UK, it's 89.99. Now, if you think back to 2012, the previous Jabba's Palace was 119.99. That was because it had all those special molds. This set doesn't have very many. It just doesn't. It has a 4 plus look to it, to be honest. I'll admit though, I do like the fact they added the lights, the little panel, and they added the meat rotisserie. I give it that. It has 20 more pieces, and again, like I was saying, the price is lower because they didn't include big molds like Jabba the Hutt, or like they didn't make so many special molds for it as much as they did with the last time. Like also, there was like you had the special head tail pieces that were for Ula. You had the Fortuna special pieces. You had the whole bit. You had the slices be crumb mold, like the carbonite mold. Like there was so many special pieces in it last time, and yeah, with all those extra pieces again. And the reason this will be cheaper is there's not as many big pieces. So you don't get those big roof pieces anymore. I think the biggest thing you might get in here is the plate pieces, and even at that, they do not look so as big as you'd think. This set, it's a fail. It's a fail for me. So there you go. There's my views on the whole bobas throne room. Now, yes, of course, people could be right about getting that black chrysanthemum in the back to tank extension. There's all sorts of extensions, and there's a Rancor pit, which now that I've seen, I've actually seen a review of the set by Emerald Productions, and he shared similar opinions, and I agree. It feels like a downgrade of the set completely, and it's upsetting because it was something I was looking forward to. Like, we all knew it wouldn't be on the scale of the 2012 version that you can see up there, but like, we knew it wouldn't live up to it. It's just like, and it wouldn't be as good, but it just where it's supposed to succeed, I feel like it fails. So, will it be a purchase I make? Because I go to the Lego store next on the 12th of March. Will it be a purchase? Probably not. Will I buy it at all? Well, there's the thing. See if these expansions come out, which fix the awful look of the set, I would be in. Basically, if they're going to release an expansion for a set, they're going to obviously do it well. You know, the set is still out, for instance. People might argue in the comments, but that will be one set if they'll still do it. Yeah, but they wouldn't do it. They would only do it if the set was still available, which that set's probably been retired for like 6 months at this point. Maybe even longer. Not to mention, you know, how would they do it? Like, it would look like something. It probably wouldn't look great with the extensions if they do make it. Maybe those clips on top of it could be for nothing, just like the ones that. But let me know what you think in the comments. I don't think I'll buy it. I think I'd rather invest my money in something else. It's a shame. The N1 Starfighter I showed talk about another video is probably the only bookable effect set I have any interest in. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Might make another video later today. Who knows? Peace out.